Hey guys, it's me again, Wingster. What ups? Where I last left off is Deku returned home, and he was just tackled by Saphira. Yep. If you don't know what that is, that's the female dragon's name from Aragon. And so as I continue forwards, a lot of you have been actually sending names, or telling me names like Dragon King. I've actually found a name using Google. I was thinking for Bahamut for a while, but I'm like, nah, no. And trying to find dragon names I can actually say are pretty difficult, actually. But as I continue forward, he one night is just sleeping like just nice peaceful dream. Then he starts dreaming up the nightmare, because it's been around a month since he got home. As he's just chilling there, sleeping peacefully, he starts having a nightmare. He's all chained up again in the white facility. This time he's not alone, unfortunately, in his mind. There's Saphira there. Saphira's all chained up, and she's having the same experiments that were implemented on him. Now she's going through him. He's trying to, break the chains, but they're, deeply implanted in his skin. They feel like they're wrapped around his bones. He's, tugging and tugging. But he can't move. He is stuck there, forced to watch this. As, the evil doctor... an evil doctor person's, just doing the operation. Then it looks on him, he's like, he's next. And then he's just like, whoa. He's clutching. He's like... As he, rubs his eyes, he's like, it's a dream. It's a dream. After taking a minute to calm down, he can't go back to sleep after having a nightmare like that. So he decides to walk out for a bit, see what's going on. As he's walking about, he actually just goes out the back and sees Saphira, where he usually would be when he's about to jump off the cliff to transform and fly. As he sees this, she does not yet notice him. So as Saphira's going as he gets closer, he hears her say this. She's like, you can do this. You can do this. Come on, let's do this. 1, 2, 3, and I can't do this. As she's trying to work up the courage to jump off the cliff and do the whole transformation thing. And she even has one of those little suits on as well that would shift and such. I see it's a swimsuit, her, I guess her back is open so that way the wings and such can sprout out. And there's not a place for the tail. That'd be weird. I never thought about that, actually. I guess it encourages, for them to be transformed when they put it on. It's, really stretchy and such, like mountain ladies. So as Deku, grabs his, shorts and such that he puts on and transforms partway, she's also transformed partway, I would say. To, enough to where there's a tail. She's like, you can do this, God, too. As she's about to jump off, but then just, stops at the very last second again. Bill's going kind of finding it amusing. And he's she's 3, 2, 1, and he's go. She's what the and nearly falls up. He immediately jumps forward and grabs her arm and pulls her up. He's what are you doing out here? It's 3 a.m. What are you doing out here? How did you even sneak out of your house? Well, my mother's asleep, and her question, it's a rhetorical question. Why are you out here? She's Ever since she got kidnapped, I've been trying to do this. But every time I try to, it's just not working. I just get so nervous, and I feel my blood pumping, and I just... At this point, she's like, Belle and her have built a bond up. And he's trying to encourage her and such to do the flying thing. Belle hasn't really ever been big enough and such to, like, go... He doesn't, like, give people rides or anything. He just does that. He's like, how about this? You first have to be up in the air on something flying. She's like, what do you mean? He's like, as he just starts transforming all the way, as she's like looking away, looking down again, he's like, I will fly you. Hop on my back and leave everything to me. Are you sure? He's like, I wish to help you get over this fear of yours. This is the best way to do it. So come on, Safi'jiiva. I will help you. And you will experience flight for the first time. And she's like, what do I grab onto? And he has like a really scaly back, so he's like, I don't know, I haven't looked at my back when I'm transformed like this. Just grab onto something and hold on tight. Probably in that form. Because I don't think you have a lot of strength to be able to do in your human form, so use the increased strength that comes with that. So as she's like, alright. As she gets on his back and like gets down low and tight, she's like death gripping it, like he's like, don't break off the things, otherwise it's gonna be trouble if you start falling. As he focuses, he goes up a bit higher, because he goes like has jumping off points he set up, so he goes up higher on the mountain to like one of the things that have a massive cliff that goes down. She's like, I thought we were gonna do this from your other thing. There's people living down there. Let's not try to disturb them. As he goes up and like rushes up the mountains, he gets to the very end. Enko, at one point was this building, like, oh, what time is it? Belle just screams. Not Belle, Deku. She's like, Deku just screamed. Oh, great, she went outside. After a while, she's just like, he hasn't come back in yet. And swings her legs up and gets out. As she sees it, she sees Safi'jiiva getting on his back. As she gets on his back, he's like, we'll go up further on the mountain. As she hears them like squabbling about why aren't they just going with the other one, it's like, there's people down there that will wake them. Because like, you two are having an argument right outside this house. What do you mean you're gonna wake other people up? Like, our sleep doesn't matter? God, he's been back for a month. No, he'll be fine. Maybe Safi'jiiva will keep him out of danger. And she just goes back to sleeping. So as Belle and her on the cliff's edge, he's standing there, just peering over it. He's letting Safi'jiiva get like a good look as well. He's like, no, hold on tight. This is a pretty steep drop, and tell me right now if you wish to get off. As he, like, alright. As he gets further back, and then runs off, like, 1, 2, 3, then, and starts doing a dive bomb. It's like a pretty steep cliff. So as he's, like, riding down it, like, sort of flying down it, like, she's like, he's like, keep your eyes open. Make sure you recognize as you're about to fall and hit the ground. She's keeping her eyes dead on, and Belle's like, no. and uses as he's picking up speed and such, he turns his wings like to the right direction, and it goes going straight back up again. Using the force and speed he's picked up, he uses that to propel himself forward and such, up into the sky, and then he just more or less glides, flapping his wings every now and then to ensure that he doesn't start falling, and to also give him a speed boost. He isn't going as fast as he could. He's going at like a moderate speed to ensure that Safi'jiiva doesn't have a whole freak out section. She's like, calm yourself. Breathe in, then out. We are part of the wind. We do not fight against it. We do not bend it to our will. We go with the flow and use the laws of physics to help us. I've always wondered what it'd like to be a bird. Now I know. He's like, keep it calm. As long as you keep calm, you will not experience any sort of fear. Sorry about that. I just swallowed a bit of spit while taking some air, so they both went down same pipe. In and out, Safi'jiiva. As she has calmed down a bit, she's like, alright, I'm calm. I'm good. I'm not freaking out anymore. It's like, good. Now for something more advanced. As he says that, she's like, oh, please, no. He's like, too late. Starts flipping up and doing barrel rolls and tricks and taking steep dives out of nowhere. She's like, why are you doing this? He gives a laugh and such, seeing that, and he's laughing. It's good to see you are still the same. She's like, what do you mean? I feared in those years I was gone, you would have completely changed. Not the shy little lady that I'd forgotten about. And if you may think this is weird for a child to be talking like this, dragons are usually sometimes depicted as wise, since they usually live for so long. So I say they become more, not adult-like. They just become less childish and more wise and such. Very, well, just wise and stoic and such. As he's speaking, he's like, remember that. And take in accordance and take care that I have not changed as well. The only thing that has changed is the scars I bear. She grabs onto his back like she's hugging him. She's like, I know. I was scared you would have changed. And she hugs him. She's like, I think I'm ready. He's like, wait, what? She's like, he's like, hang on, I think you should wait a minute. You just barely got over your fear of all that, and you were just having a heart attack. She's like, it's okay. And they're pretty high up. And that's a good question, actually. If dragons and such can fly at such high altitudes where humans really couldn't because of the amount of lack of oxygen and such, and they're up pretty high, does that mean they have better oxygen? Well, not oxygen, but better lungs, and better able to breathe using much lower amounts of everything and such? That's a pretty good question. Never thought of that. So as they continue forward, Belle's like, alright, you really mean it. Stand up. And she's like, yeah, alright, I'm standing up. Now, slowly but surely, start changing and imagine it. Take it nice and easy. Okay, are you ready? She's like, yes, I'm gonna drop you. She's like, do it. So yeah, as he does a flip, and she falls straight down. She's starting to transform and such, and she goes into her full mode. If any of you seen the movie Aragon, That's how I learned about Safi'jiiva and such, is from the movie. She fully transforms and is flying, or more or less gliding. She's like... As Belle gets lower and such, it's like, well done, Safi'jiiva. Well done. Remember, keep calm. Keep calm. You are part of the wind, and just as fast. Do not fight against it, use it. And so as they're flying, she's like, you're much bigger than me. Indeed I am. So as they just start flying circles with each other, after like a solid 2 hours of this, Safi'jiiva's mother woke up and is worried about her and such. They like freak out. She goes up to Midoriya's place, and she's like, Inko? Inko's like, she's like, what do you want? Do you know where Safi'jiiva is? She's like, yeah, Belle and her went flying. She's like, what, Safi'jiiva actually flies now? She's like, no, she doesn't fly now. Cut back to Deku and them like flying up and doing twirls and such. This is like a bond that they will begin to enjoy. Yes, Safi'jiiva will be one of Deku's relationships in this. I'm not telling you if there's gonna be more or not. But as they're flying, they're like, we should probably head back, Safi'jiiva. Indeed you are. You are right, Belle. So as they fly back, and it's about morning, as they come flying down and land, Safi'jiiva's like, that was so fun. As her mother's like, Safi'jiiva, where have you been? As Safi'jiiva's standing there, and Deku's like right beside her, who he even towers over. He doesn't have like a long neck like Safi'jiiva, if I put a picture in. She's like more or less along the lines of a standard dragon. If you've seen, looked at pictures and such, like a actual dragon. 4 legs, long tail, and a long neck and such. Like that type of dragon. Deku has like a shorter neck and such, but it's like still pretty long, but it's not like a giant neck. So as she's like, hello, Mom. And Safi'jiiva's mother's like, Deku, she went flying now? And she's like, she flies now? She flies now. Wonder if any of you are getting those references. But as I continue forward, dang it. Stop! As they continue forward and such. As they continue forward, Belle and her just like start sleeping. They just go to sleep in their dragon forms and such. Just like hiding underneath the shade. At this point, Katsuki and Momo have come to visit. Because like I've said, I believe I said in the last episode, they have actually kept in touch through letters and talking on the phone. So as they like Deku's like back and such, they like both. Katsuki and her family just immediately comes, with Momo not far behind. As Deku and her come up, it's like on the weekend. I'm pretty sure their school system isn't like that. I'm pretty sure they only get 1 day off, or if that. They get like 1 day off. I'm not sure if it's like America's. Don't think it is. I think they have only 1 day off instead of 2. So, as they continue on with that, they come rushing in and they're like, oh god. Katsuki, like, filled with rage and happiness that he's back, but she's also angry that the fact that he had the ability to get caught. She's like, he's probably one of the strongest people ever. How did he get caught? Ugh, stupid dragon hunters. they've been formally named is that they're known as the Dragon Hunters. They had multiple facilities around the world. Earth was not happy. They literally sort of they legitimately started kidnapping a lot of people. And there were certain experiments found and such that were just could just only be classified as straight up abominations. As this was realized, like the world was shared with this news, not shared with all of it, like the abominations and such, but some of these horrible experiments have been done to these people. Dragon hunters are in hiding at the moment. They've had to go into hiding ever since Bell's big breakout. So a lot of big name companies and such have been getting their everything's been torn apart for the companies and such. This was a big name company that was funding these people in their research. Nobody knows why the woman was funding the research. They just know they were. As that happens, it's just pandemonium, I believe is the word, where everything's just, But as Katsuki gets to Deku's house and such, and Mitsuki, there we go, is there, and they're like, hey, where's Deku? And that's essentially what Katsuki says. She's like, hey, Miss Midoriya, now where's Deku? As she's like, oh, he went flying. She's like, what? Yeah, he goes flying around this time of day. He'll be back in an hour or two. Baby 3, he's actually feeling very energized. She's like, he just got back here a month ago, and he's still going off flying again? Well, he seems perfectly fine. Deku's not perfectly fine. Well, most time he is. He just has little moments where it's PTSD that kicks in. He flashes back to some of the experiments. He feels the actual pain and such that continues forward. He doesn't scream, yell, or even tear up when any of these happens. He just remembers the pain of them taking a scalpel and such and cutting, or the needle and jabbing. That sort of stuff. As they continue forward, Deku, after she's like, where is he? As she goes to the back and sees an entire training yard thing. There's trees that have been punched up, boulders and such, and footprints and such where Deku walks around by carrying these boulders on his back in some of his transformations. And he's pretty tall now as well. He's about Dupla arms. He's about the size of him in his human mode. His dragon mode, his first degree is pretty similar to him. He just gets scaly, his eyes turn different shades, sharper teeth, and claws and such. He pretty much turns into something similar to Dragonborn, but toned down a tiny bit. He's in his second degree, though, that was his first degree. When he turns in his second degree, though, he gets a bit of a tail, small, some wings, and his face starts to shapeshift and such. Into a lizard form. He also gets a bit bigger. Not by about a foot taller. And so, as he continues forward, when he gets to third degree, he gets much, much bigger. His legs get that weird curve, V, that little angle in them. He gets a much bigger tail. His wings grow massive to the point where he can fly with those. His hair, he has his horns growing, and he just becomes a lot bigger and bulkier. And as the fourth degree, well, you already know what that is. At third degree, he gets a bit of his energy breath and such. She sees burn marks and scorch marks and such from training. And as Deku and Saphir decide to call it early and such for the flying session, as they land, Deku can see Katsuki, like, Katsuki? She's like, who's Katsuki? He's like, my old childhood friend. What is she doing here? As he, like, comes flying in, as they, like, feel, she's like, he isn't here, Katsuki. He'll be here in a, as they feel the wind change, as they see Deku, like, flying down and landing with Saphira right beside him. He's like, Katsuki, I didn't expect to see you for a while. Or until I went to UA. Oh, dang it. Ow. So as he, like, speaks to Katsuki a bit, she's like, I thought you were dead. He's like, why? You were kidnapped and you were gone for like 2 years, man. He's like, well, as you can see, I am not dead. I'm very much alive. He's like, oh, let me introduce you to Saphira. Katsuki looks at her. She's somewhat gone down into her 2nd degree. Yeah, her 2nd degree and such. As that happens, she's like, And Deku has also gone down into a 2nd degree, still towering over Saphira, but yeah, not as much. No, actually, still quite a lot. Yeah. So as they're both just standing there, they're like, what the? Alright, well, hello, Saphira. I'm Katsuki, Deku's childhood friend, as she puts emphasis on childhood. Saphira gets the idea and such, and she's like, I'm Saphira, Deku's new best friend, as they get, like, another handshake going. As this happening, there's no ring at the door, like, oh, come on, who get me? No! As, like, Inko, like, I'll go check who it is, as they're, like, talking for a bit. Momo comes walking out. Hey, Deku. Hey, it's me, Momo. He's like, Momo, it's been too long. As he goes over and gives Momo, he doesn't give Momo a big hug, he just like, Momo, it's been too long. As she gives him, like, a handshake, she's the one that hugs him. I was scared, and I thought he would never return. He's like, oh, you don't need to believe that. Just had to wait and bide my time. As that happens, they actually ask him, how did he get out? He's like, well, they were running a test. Didn't have any way to control us, so when I saw my opportunity, I blasted the glass, and it was superheated. It shattered open, and I just started crashing through the walls and letting everybody out. He hasn't told anyone about, since he's only been back for a month, he hasn't told anyone about that whole he killing somebody. So, yeah. As he continues forward, he's like, well, let's all get changed, huh? Saphira, get your change clothes on. She's like, I don't mind staying like this. Their voices are kind of different when in these forms. I don't have a voice changer, so yeah. So he's like, Saphira, get changed. She's like, why? Well, I thought you would like to transform out of that. She's like, I'm completely fine as this, actually. Well, I won't change either. As they all just go inside, Belle pretty much touching the roof. As he sits down, Saphira and him just sit down. Their hair really isn't there anymore. It's just like very smooth. Saphira does have feathers though, which are pretty cool. They're just like feathers and such. As Deku never saw this, so he just like goes and pets her feather. She's like, what are you doing? He's like, the feathers, so soft. As he just pets them, she's like, fine, keep doing it, just don't plucking out. Like, I wouldn't dream of it. As he's just like petting her feathers are really soft. Like, oh, Katsuki's like, what do you mean? As she comes to feel it, she's like, this is really soft. feels like just like one of those like very expensive pillows. Like, yeah, it does. Then as he's like, well, get back to the question at hand. What are you two doing here? Well, I thought I'd come and visit you since, like, you just disappeared out of nowhere. Well, he's like, well, I was kidnapped, had some tests done, and that's about it. I broke out recently. Also, he's like, how are people reacting to that whole dragon outbreak thing? Like, I never, like, looked at the news. I just sort of took a moment to get everything together to say that this wasn't a dream. As he's like, what do you mean? Well, I had a dream, like, every night of getting out. So it just, took me a little bit to realize that I wasn't stuck in there. As they, like, see the look on his face of sadness, happiness, and just a bunch of emotions mixed all together in to make it undescribable, much like the God Emperor's face. Depends on what you want to see. Some of them see, oh, he's, like, very sad. Some of them see that he's like, angry. And Saphira sees that he's extremely happy. It all depends on who you were. So as he continues forward and such, he's just like, it's good to be home though. Yeah, but anyways, what do you mean? Like, to answer my question, what happened? How did everything go? Well, start off with, some of those people had a criminal record, so they were taken to jail. Though they were given, like, a sort of, like, only a couple of months and such because of what happened. People had ascribed their whole freaking out thing to, like, a sort of clouded sense of judgment. Because they just broke out of a facility, they had no idea where they are, and they were probably very confused. The younger ones were returned to their families. The older ones were questioned about what did the people look like and how did everything go. Because when they checked the facility, a lot of people were gone. Some of them suspect they could have fled out for some secret entrance, some secret exit, or they could have had some teleporter quirks right at the ready. They truly don't know. I feel like this is this won't be the last we hear of them. God dang it. As Deku rubs his forehead, like, I guess we'll just have to wait. Have they tried to figure out where I am, actually? Like, oh yeah, they've been trying to find you all over the place. Some are saying you were like this orchestrated mastermind of like a giant prison break. Some are praising you, some are pretty much condemning you for what you did. Oh really? Like who? Some of the heroes and such said that it was wrong of you to just burst out like that. You caused some serious damage and put some lives in danger. Some are saying it's good of you to have broken all those people out of prison, out of a twisted lab. So it's like a mixed bag of emotions, Deku. He's like, I see. They've been looking for you and have been trying to track you, but after you got into like the part of the mountains, they couldn't find you again. They actually have combed the fields for combed the forest and such for about a week trying to find you, but they couldn't. So they don't know how your name, your face, or anything. They just gave up. Eventually, some of the only ones that really kept continuing were apparently the hero called Ryu, another guy called Hellhound or something other, and actually they even called in the Wild Pussycats at one point trying to find you, but never could. Pretty surprising, actually. Like, I think I remember hearing something about the Wild Pussycats. Weren't they like top-notch rescue heroes and such? Yeah, they were pretty good. But anyways, what do you guys want to do? Well, we could just walk around. Deku's like, that seems so boring. Well, what would you expect us to do? Everything's boring here. It's a country. He's like, and gets a smile on his face, just thinking, yeah, he doesn't like giving rides to people, but he'll give rides to people he knows, and or he knows will have a big freak out about it. He's like, come outside. As he looks at Saphira and telling him like, come on. As they go walking outside, they just start walking up a hill. They're like, what's this for? As Belle and Saphira fully transformed, Deku's like, we'll give you the express tour. As he says that, Momo and Katsuki are like, oh god. He's like, come on now. As he picks up Katsuki by her collar and just sets her on his back. Come on, Momo, get on Saphira's back. She's like, is it really okay? She's like, yeah, it's indeed fine. Let's see what you all think of it. So as Deku starts walking forward to the cliff, Katsuki's like, Deku, this is not funny. Come on, let me down. He's like, alright, if you truly wish to get off, you can. She's like, really? He's like, no. As he just leans forward very quickly and just does a drop. He's like, calm down. Take in and out, in and out. And she's like, alright. I'm still freaking out. She's like, alright, just calm down. As he finally gets gliding after a little bit, and with Saphira, Momo having a very similar reaction. Aside from is it really okay? She's just having a big freak out as she's falling down. It's like, it's okay. As they're just gliding about very calmly and peacefully. They don't go to the heights that they normally would, because humans have harder time breathing at high altitude, so you sort of tone it back a bit. Anything else? They just really talk and chat. Katsuki and Momo are bewildered and such at the sight of them just flying so high in the sky. It's just beautiful to them. Then as they have gotten settled, Katsuki, Deku, and Saphira, I forget, I know, the name is very confusing, Saphira, there we go. Saphira and him start doing barrel rolls, twists, and loop-de-loops. Eventually, at one point, Deku gets really high up as they're just sort of flying there, flapping their wings up to keep them sort of hovering. They're like, are you gonna take us down now? He's like, no. As he just stop, as they both stop, are looking at each other, both of them are very amused. And Katsuki's like, oh, these two. And Momo's like, oh, she isn't friend-zoned, is she? He's like, hold on, you two! As he just stop, as they both say, hold on, you two. As they both just stop dead and freeze. Like, what are you? As they drop straight down, Katsuki's like, Deku, pull up. Momo having the same reaction. Saphira, please don't kill me. As they're flying, as they get pretty close to the bottom, it's again. They're going they're shaking. Land us, please land us. They're actually very shaking. Deku and Saphira are like, okay, sorry. But don't worry, you guys would have been completely fine. Rubbing their eyes a bit. Sort of telling them that they would have been just fine. And that they weren't actually even going their top speeds. So the risk of them falling off and such was very far away. So, yeah. very surprising how terrifying they are. As they continue forward, though, as they continue forward, they just go on and on and on. As they finally land, Mitsuki is like, oh my god, Katsuki, where'd you go? She's like, we went flying. As she's just like, sweet ground, sweet ground. Katsuki and Momo are having the same reaction, like, oh thank god, the earth is right beneath our feet. Saphira and Deku giving like sort of chuckles and such. Deku and her have gone down to second degree. They're just sort of laughing, like, well, anyways, let's head inside. So, as they, like, just go inside and just sit down again. Well, that was fun, wasn't it? Katsuki's like, that was not fun. I almost had a heart attack more times than I can count. One was like, I think I started creating Russian nesting dolls when you just dropped out of nowhere. You're like, what? Yeah, it sometimes happens when I get scared. It just pops out. Oh, well, I am very sorry. Saphira kind of feeling like a prick. Deku sort of feeling it as well, but then the feeling immediately goes away. Well, I think I need to go help Grandpa and such with the fields. I'll be back. As he goes into his third degree and just flies down there. As he lands, making like footprints, he walks over to his grandfather and some of his like helping hands. Like, Grandpa, do you need assistance with the fields? He's like, oh, actually, yeah, I do. See, I've been trying this new, what is it called? I forget what it's called. It's not pesticide. Something else. It just helps the flowers grow, and they say that it's probably best to, like, toss it over a field using a sort of, it's similar to an insecticide, but it helps just ensure that they don't go anywhere near it. Like, I see. So as Belle does that for the day, and that'll be the end of that. That'll be it. Hope y'all have a nice day, nice night, nice life, and tell me what you think of this series. Goodbye.